Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Smash JT. In this episode, we're going to talk about sex, but not in the we're demonetizing your video kind of sex. We're going to make sure this is an educational video, so those good folks over the higher up powers of YouTube will look at this and say, yeah, that's okay. JT. Initially, an anti-pornography lobby group based in the US had claimed victory over Steam. In a story that gripped the gaming community, Valve contacted a slew of adult content video game developers to warn that they would have to remove the adult content in their games by the end of the month or risk being removed from the distribution website. This included mature puzzle visual titles like Honey Pop, Mutiny, and Kindred Spirits on the Roof, which show cartoon nudity and was described by one developer as an anime titty holocaust. Although there was an update since this that 3 days after the warning emails were circulated, at least 3 developers said on Twitter updates that Valve had since rescinded their sudden threats. The games, according to the notices, are seemingly in the process of being re-reviewed, and as HoneyDev wrote on his Twitter, I should be clear, this doesn't mean we're out of the woods, it just means we have an interesting development. On Reddit, the speculation grew about who was to blame. The internet's attention quickly turned to a US lobby group, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, or NCOSE for short, formerly the Morality in Media. Publishing a statement on May 18th titled Victory, it claimed responsibility for the threats and said they came following a 2-year campaign it was involved in. And further rumors had surfaced that these lobbyists had also targeted PayPal, which has a strict no porn policy, to place more pressure on Valve. To which I want to interject and say, why do you care so much about pornography? There are so many worse things in this world, yet the focus is on pornography and sex, a basic human act that most people will end up performing in their life, is something that we shy away from and something that we shun our children's eyes from. Yet we see tearing people apart, bodies ripped in half, bazookas to the forehead, everything you can imagine in violence, and that's okay, that's been cleared. But now we're moving on to pornography and why this is so bad in video games. But let me think. Oh yeah, the movie industry also has pornography. It has its own industry within the industry to distribute that. But the problem with the video game industry is Steam is a monopoly run by Valve, where it's basically the only place people go to get video games on their PC. Where the movie industry is a little bit more acceptable to allowing things in different places. Now sure, you're not going to go to a basic movie theater and watch a pornography film, but they do have mature rated content, rated R, that you'll see some pretty risque things when you go to the movie theater, assuming that you're at the age old enough to go watch it. And what's funny about this is how it does not translate whatsoever to the video game industry, even though they are both forms of entertainment and should be treated as such. And ironically, the Washington, D.C. headquartered lobby group has a history of aggressive campaigns against material that it deems pornographic. It's launched campaign petitions against 50 Shades of Grey, it's launched them against Game of Thrones, it's targeted so many different forms of media, and on its own website, the NCOSE says its mission is defending human dignity. And guess what I'm defending? Basic human rights to freedom, things that you should be allowed to do whatever you want to. If it's not hurting or harming someone else, why is it a bad thing for you to have the freedom to do what you'd like? I feel like us as a society have come far enough to put this kind of crap behind us and move forward into the world and say, hey, we are an established, educated, intellectual group of people. Well, I'd like to think most of us are anyways, are going to move forward, making our own decisions on what's okay and what's not in our own personal lives. And this is coming from someone who's a father of 2. I want my kids to have the freedom in this world to do what they'd like to do and to see the world the way they want to see it, as long as they're not harming somebody else. And this should come as no surprise whatsoever, but if you look at the list of people on this board, they claim to be a religious-free, Jesus-free, nothing to do with religion here, we just don't like pornography. And then you look into the backgrounds of every single person that's heading this group. The board lists men and women with religious credentials. Spearheaded by former Department of Justice Chief Patrick Truman, the group maintains that it does not receive any funding from the US government. Its budget for 2018 is reportedly $1.5 billion. And prior to changing their name, they worked closely with faith groups according to Christianity Daily. And I have a major issue with this because they are impacting the lives of the developers of these games for the only reason of pushing their own agenda, not taking anything else into consideration. Now, thankfully, Steam has updated saying they are going to re-review these games and see if they're gonna be okay and acceptable, as opposed to just blanket statement, we're not allowing these games anymore on our platform. But I see a big issue with monopolies in the industry, similar to what YouTube does on their video service platform, where they make a decision and you gotta live with it, and it impacts the artistic creativity, and that is a big problem. Anyways, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this situation. If you enjoy what I'm making here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you haven't already, definitely hit that like button, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good one.